Okay, we can forget about the timber holdings. But this leased acreage, Jim.
Matt, it's midnight. Stop waltzing.
You're not asking the San Francisco Trust Company for 20 bucks till payday, Jim. We're talking about a substantial loan.
We've been talking about it all day. Sit down, Matt.
You're asking for an unsecured loan. That's the headache.
I don't want to be hobbled.
Fair enough. And on performance, you shouldn't be. Since Mrs. Garrett's death, you've done a remarkable job.
Yeah, of juggling. The taxes are paid. Connie has her share. The ranch is in one piece.
One slightly dented piece.
We want cash, yes, to grow on. We've got the land and the cattle. We've got the resources and the men to make them pay.
Do you, Jim? I've done a pretty thorough survey on the Garrett Ranch. Production, resources, and labor. That's the one soft spot. Men on the payroll, that oversized payroll. Oh, there's a lot of good men, too, sure. But too many problem workers, gold bricks, seasonal employees you don't use half the time. Lucia Garrett was tender-hearted. You can't afford to be.
Is that all?
No. No, then there are the men that are just too old, who can't still deliver a day's work for a day's pay, and all living rent-free on ranch property.
Mr. Redigo, Marino sent me. There's trouble.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's our trouble. A bunch of Garrett hands are trying to take the town apart.
Sheriff, I was only asking why you brought us in and only us.
Don't play cute with me, Hal. I don't mind if I have to dry you out a little. Welcome, Charlie.
All right, sit on it. The dancing's over.
Cool down, Joe. I don't see anybody but Garrett hands.
They kicked it off, Jim.
Yeah, they were spoiling for a fight and they found it. But they got their fight with a lot of cooperation from the locals.
Maybe they were provoked some, but... All right, no charges. Just get them rolling.
Chuck, bring around the truck.
I'm holding Johnny over. He started it all. And he busted a cafe window. Put a man right through it.
Lawman, you terrify me.
Put a lid on it, Johnny. I'll have somebody in for the hearing. Tomorrow?
First thing in the morning. And, Jim, I gotta warn you. Mesa isn't gonna stand for any more troublemaking by Garrett hands.
If you've got a complaint against us, spell it out. But don't say it unless you can prove it. They're all yours.
You were a little rough with the sheriff, but then you were standing up for your men.
Don't talk word games, Matt.
I won't. A dozen of your men start trouble, and I could see they figured they had nothing to worry about. That their jobs were riveted on. And why shouldn't they, with all those overage pensioners still on the payroll?
I'm not fighting for any troublemakers or gold bricks, but those overage pensioners, they're the ones who helped build the Garrett Ranch.
They're not helping it now. Oh, I've gone over the figures pretty carefully, Jim. Take, say, 50 excess hands. Why, that's a payroll cost of $180,000 a year. And you've got more than 50. Cut them off, Jim, or no loan.
On those terms, No loan.
Be sensible. The bank has the right to make a few conditions.
Suggestions. I agree we have some people who don't earn their keep. But I'll work out an answer to that. My way.
I'll be back this way in 2 weeks. I can give you till then.
Okay? 2 weeks. Sorry, Sal, we can't do that.
I have a responsibility for this ranch, too, and one of the things I believe in is loyalty.
Fine, so do I, but let's talk a few numbers. We need operating expenses. We'll get them if we can satisfy Matt Christopher.
Let's find another way to satisfy him.
Name it.
Jim, you're boxing me in.
Sal, we run out of choices. We have to let some of the men go. The hands who don't justify their pay. We just can't afford it. You don't like it?
No, I don't. I've gone hungry, too.
See if you can struggle along without me for a few days. I hope I can come up with an answer or two. Who knows? Maybe this partner will pull a rabbit out of the hat after all.
Paul, we'll run a survey on every job. You and I know some of the names already. Before we let a man go, I want to check with his foreman or operations boss.
I'll get on it.
Oh, one thing first. Johnny Howe's coming up for a hearing in Mesa today. Go in and either put up bail or pay his fine.
And blow his nose for him? I should use sandpaper.
Johnny's on the list, under gold bricks.
Jim, maybe that's a case for Johnny Howe. But what about some of those others? All right. It's my job. But, man, I sure don't like it.
Do you think I do?
What's the matter, Johnny? More trouble?
Mesa's answer to Sam Benedict. I can get along very well without a lawyer, Rowan.
Either you need a lawyer or a keeper, because if you go in there and plead not guilty, it's like calling the sheriff a liar. Judge Russell will drop the law book on you.
Listen, kid, stop working for an angle. Go in there, tell the man you busted the window and take whatever he hands you.
All right, Johnny. It's ready for you.
I'll take it for you, Johnny. No charge. Nobody's gonna give you a rough time here.
Thanks for both of us.
Big deal, $100 fine. I guess everybody's got to get theirs, even judges.
Even punks. Johnny, we're going to start trimming some fat from the ranch payroll. Believe me, kid, you better start shaping up, or you're gone.
Ain't nobody gonna tell me to fire none of my men.
All I want is a list of the ones who aren't delivering.
Well, I ain't giving it to you.
Bart, anyway you cut it. Something's got to be done about the men who aren't producing. Starting with Junior.
My boy does his job same as anybody else.
What job? Check and sack feed? Takes like maybe 10 minutes a day.
I could do any job in the mill.
Maybe. Maybe you even want to, Johnny. But you're not doing anything.
I told you, I could run the grinder.
That's enough, Johnny.
Let me finish.
You already have. Now, you just relax, boy. Ain't nobody gonna fire you. You listen to me. This here is my operation. I do the hiring, I do the firing. Now, you just tell Mr. Jim Redigo he'd have an awful lot of trouble running this mill without me.
All right, Bart, I'll tell him. And I'm sure he'll be able to stand the shock. But I wouldn't make odds on you, man.
Morning, Pa. How you feeling?
Oh, just fine. A little Rocky? Guess I celebrated a little too hard last night. I'm a mite late to work this morning, ain't I? Is that Ben sore?
Oh, don't worry, Pa. I don't think he's even noticed you weren't here. Why don't you go on over there and get to work?
Hello, Ben.
Hello, Marino.
Ben, I'm just picking up the reports. Now, you're the one who tells us who's not filling out his job.
Like old Sven there.
Well, yeah. But how many times you told me he's more trouble than he's worth?
Sure, so the old coot is not much for work. And he's not pretty. Huh. So why not shoot him?
Sure you'll be finished by tomorrow night, Carl?
I'm sure. I told you.
All right, then I'll schedule you and your crew for the culvert job starting Thursday.
Paul, what's going on? I mean all this firing talk.
Carl, I don't know. Redigo's trying to work it out.
I better say it right out. I don't like what I hear. Take men like my pa. He's worked more than 20 years for the Garretts. I don't want to think this is the way he gets paid off. A lot of men go with me on that, too, Paul. I'm telling you. You start cutting men off like they were nothing, like they weren't owed a thing for the years they put in. There's gonna be trouble.
What's this all about?
Look, we know why you're here. You're not going to get away with it.
Now, June don't mean anything by it, Mr. Marino. It's just that, well, there's been talk.
I'm just here to count the seasonal help. Now, you're working with the cook shack crew this week. Bates, Lester Bates.
Yeah, that's me. My girl April here, well, she and I have lived on the ranch over 6 years now. We don't work too steady, mostly when the crops are in season.
The Garretts give you this house?
Mrs. Garrett fixed it up so we could stay here.
I'd know where you worked if I'd seen you around.
I work in Mesa. I came out because I heard you're going to throw my family off the ranch.
I told you why I'm here. Sorry. You haven't got the weight.
Now, June, honey, we don't want any kind of a fuss. Probably nothing to it anyway. Huh, Mr. Marino?
Listen, Jim Redigo just doesn't want to throw you people out. He doesn't like it any more than you do or I do.
But he's going to do it.
He has no choice. That's something you people must understand. The ranch has to trim down on people that aren't justifying their keep.
He's going to order it, and you're going to do it.
I have a job to do.
How lucky. But you just tell that to everybody here.
Any of our seasonal workers going to be kept on, Mr. Marino?
I don't know, Andy.
Don't seem fair. What am I going to do? Nobody's hiring.
Oh, but that's none of your worry. You just come on down and do what Redigo tells you.
What do you want from me? I don't make the decisions.
Well, I guess we know that, but we'll work it out some way.
I hope so. Working seasonal, you don't lay nothing by. You try, but you can't.
I know you've all been trying, but I guess it's not been good enough.
Well, what do you suggest, boss?
I don't know.
Well, that was fast. Get all the seasonal help listed?
No, not yet. Jim, you know what I owe you.
$1.65 from Pinochle.
You saved my neck. You stood by me when I was in big trouble. I owe you a lot of loyalty.
Well, that's the footwork. Where's the punch?
Those people, Jim. You know, to a lot of them, this is family and home, and just about all they've got. They're getting old, and they're scared.
Yeah. They're scared. You're upset. And Tal's dragging his heels. But I've got to do it. Every time there's a tough decision, somebody has to be the heavy.
Sure, you call the shots, but I pull the trigger.
You know the situation. Everyone on this ranch has got to work on it.
Jim, I don't mind getting rid of the gold bricks. But there are men working on this ranch who have been here for 20 years. Who's going to go to them and say, go, old man? If you're real lucky, maybe you can get county relief and a free burial in a charity grave. Man, don't ask me to.
What are you doing back here?
Enlisting. What brings you up?
June here called me.
Redigo's going to throw my family out of the house and off Garrett property. I want to know just how fast he can do it. We all want to know our rights.
So you called a lawyer, and I am the lucky guy, huh? All right. Now listen, all of you. I came here because I was asked to. Now, that doesn't mean that I can do anything or that I will. It looks to me as if you may be going off half-cocked here.
All right, now listen to him.
First of all, the Garrett Ranch is large and rich. There are no odds in picking a quick fight that you will lose even more quickly. Secondly, I do not believe in making snap judgments. I want you all to promise me that you will not jump in a hurry. Let's have no trouble. Now, I'd like to say this. You people, most of you, have worked here for a long time. Well, you do have some rights. I'm going to try and see that those rights are protected. The Garrett Ranch, as I said, is big, but the law is a great equalizer. If everything you say is so, if you are being sold down the river, then you will get satisfaction. The Garrett Ranch will regret trying to push you around. That I can promise you.
I think that's the best way in town.
You're back. Morning, Jimmy.
Morning. Talk some sense into him, Jim.
So Jimmy wants to quit. He's heard the talk and doesn't want to make us fire him.
Well, I can go back to the people. They'll find some grandfather's work for me. I never liked fooling, Jim. I can't put in one solid day anymore.
Trying to work out an answer for that, Kuchimi. Not charity.
Well, if that's understood, I'll appreciate anything you do. Thanks for that good thought, Tal.
I won't let a man like that be laid off.
You won't take handouts, Tal.
He can stay on the payroll. I've got the cash we need.
Where?
Connie. She's a Garrett, Jim. She's my sister. It's money she's gotten out of this ranch, and she's more than ready to put it back to keep the ranch the way it was.
Nothing is ever the way it was. Tal, we've got to run this ranch, not play with it. You can't toss away Connie's money out of sentiment.
Don't stop. I'm sure you have a few more things to say.
Just one. If we borrow money to carry people who are a liability, we'll weaken the very thing we're trying to protect.
That's talk.
Would you like to look at some figures with me? You want to pay out that money so you feel good. Don't you think I'd like to play Santa Claus? This is no fairy tale. Some nice people are going to get hurt.
You're right. I guess I knew it. I just wouldn't admit it.
Tone up.
I asked most of you to come down here because I know there's been a lot of talk going around.
We just want to know who's getting fired.
You foremen will get the list. Only the men who have been dogging it are being dropped, not the older hand.
What then?
The ranch still needs your skill and experience. But we can't trade full-time pay for part-time work. Some of you older men will be off the payroll, but you can stay on where you're living. And whenever there's some extra work or a special job, well, you've got it.
Dave Garrett wouldn't have done this. My father's dead. We'd like to keep the ranch alive, and we need you as an emergency force for special jobs. Now, most of you have families or in-laws living here. Well, you're not alone. And when there's work for you, I mean real work, you'll be paid for it.
Yeah, but when do we know that?
No, it's still not fair. My pa's worked here since his ranch started. He's got rights.
Carl, you know that Sven can't turn in a full day's work.
What do you mean I can't put
Where
in
does that give you the right to tell him he's worth nothing? Huh? I'm not going to let you shame him.
You want me to fire my own son?
He's not doing a job, Bart.
I'm right here. You can talk to me.
All right to you. You've been goofing off ever since you came here. It's over.
All right, then I quit. And all my men quit with me. All right, folks. Let's just let them cut the payroll clear down to the two of them. Let them run this ranch alone. See how they do.
Pulling out.
Can hear the whole caboodle.
By the time the convoy gets to town, I'll have had a chance to talk to the mayor, and I'll see you both there.
Ron? Chuck told me about this, but I didn't believe it.
I regret this, Redigo, but you forced the issue.
And all of them decided to move out at once.
You didn't give them much to stay for. I came out as soon as I heard about it. They are my clients.
It's cool. You've been here quite a while. They're just getting on the way. You didn't come because they were going. You came out to tell them to go.
Yeah, I advised them to leave. And as soon as the last one of them is off Garrett land, I'm going to slap you with about a dozen lawsuits, Mr. Redigo. Inadequate compensation, default of implied contract, no notice of dismissal, unsafe working conditions, no medical care, implied threat and coercion.
None of them will stand up.
Maybe yes and maybe no. But you will have to answer to them. To the courts, to the newspapers, and to the people, Mr. Redigo.
All right, you're loaded. Hello, Jim. Now you can call me anything you want.
You have your reasons, and you believe in them. You believe all this is necessary?
Jim, I don't want it. I'm just trying to be fair. And so are you, I know that. Why can't we settle it so nobody gets hurt?
Well, you know the problem.
Yes, both sides. You're only thinking of one. I know it takes money to run the ranch, but it needs people, too.
Sure it does. And I've always leveled with our men. Let a man chisel his pay, why, that's lying to him.
Oh, aren't you being pure?
I hope I'm being honest. There's more than you can say for Rowan.
Just because he's against you and against the ranch?
Paul? I'll see you in town, right?
All right.
That guy's stirring up a mess so he can look like a hero.
Jim, he's fighting for the people. And he's trying to use everything he can.
Including you.
All right, I guess you spelled it out. Anybody that argues with Jim Redigo or the Garrett Ranch is wrong going in.
Paul, you know better than that.
Listen, you've asked these people to sit around and wait without pay, just in case you happen to need them. You call that a fair offer? Jim, you kick this fight off. Don't complain if it kicks back.
Good thing I came back early, Jim. The whole thing's in a mess. You just did what I said and fired those men cold.
Without warning.
And without a chance for them to build up a public bonfire. Quickest way to cool this off is with money. This Rowan, will he take?
Well, I don't know. You're not just a chiseler. He's an ambitious man. He has political dreams, hero of the common man. This trouble is just his meat.
Don't glamorize him. Jim, frankly, I think you've failed. But I may just have the answer. First, we buy off Rowan for a few thousand. Then I grant the loan and make a big public announcement. You imply you'll be hiring again in the near future, and everybody's home free.
That's quite a plan.
I know it's a little questionable, but it'll work.
Yes, it'll work. No.
Likewise.
But free housing. Jim, it costs money to be noble.
I didn't offer him that housing for nothing. I was going to get a free labor force in return. Remember, we're not running a bank or a chain of dime stores. This is an open sky job. You know what it means to have a labor force handy when you have a freeze hanging over 1,000 acres of apple trees? Or fever tick in a herd of cattle? In case you happen to need them? Paul Marino was right. It wasn't fair to ask them to wait around until we needed them. That hardhead made sense. And if Rowan hadn't come along and lit a fuse to us when he did, I'd have seen it. Why shouldn't there be a guarantee for standby work?
Guarantee? Jim, please.
No. Come on. Let's take a good look at the idea.
Folks, I've got some news.
What kind of news?
I think you'll be interested. Well, we have taken our first big step. We have shown the almighty Jim Redigo and the Garrett Ranch that they have got a fight on their hands. Now, as a citizen of Mesa, I'm sure that the town will cooperate to see that you all have places to stay. The mayor will be particularly delighted after the newspaper men get here.
What newspaper men? What is all this?
Well, it's publicity, Carl. I've arranged to have the bigger news services cover this act of inhumanity. Oh, you will be interviewed. Your plight will be on the front page of every paper in the country.
I don't like this, June. It's like begging.
Mr. Rowan knows what he's doing. We need public opinion behind us.
Mr. Rowan, what kind of stories are they going to write?
Why, the truth about how you were turned out after years of faithful service when you were down on your luck.
Okay, kind of truth.
Hush.
The newspapers are behind us all the way. This is going to grow. I am going to get the governor of this state down here to investigate this mess because we have been stepped on. Now they're going to find out how it feels.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's the matter with you people? Jim Redigo didn't throw you out. You left on your own.
Because there was nothing left to stay for. Redigo fixed that.
Redigo tried his best, Carl, and he's still willing to try.
What's the problem, Marino? Do you want to crawl back to Redigo?
I never crawled in my life, and especially in front of the newspapers. I thought we were all here to ask for what's due you, not beg for it. Andy, Sven, Kochimi, you know Redigo didn't throw you out. That's a lie, and the next lie is going to be a bigger one.
One thing I have always liked about Paul Marino is he is honest, but naive. You use words like beg and crawl. I didn't. I say we're going to fight and we're going to win.
And then what?
Well, and then every man here can stand straight and proud and be nobody's sucker.
Let's put it another way. He'll be nobody. Like Sven. A common drunk drawing regular pay. And you, Andy, you were a fourth helper on a packing combine that needed only 2 men.
And I was mending harness for a ranch full of machines. It's all true.
You got no right to talk like that.
Hush up, Carl. A man doesn't need no special license to tell the truth.
Sven, you're talking about truth. Now, face another. Marino here can afford to talk nobly. He can work anywhere, but you're a different case. Huh? You're 65 years old. Who's going to hire you?
Jim Redigo. He'll hire you if there's a job open and you're ready and able to work. Now, I said that I never crawled in my life. Maybe it's about time I started. I was wrong. Jim Redigo made you all a proposition. Now, maybe it didn't make you feel as good as winning a big fight with a ranch, but it sure made a heck of a lot more sense.
It is too late. You cannot go back to Redigo.
I know that. Maybe none of us can go back, but I'm not going to stay here and help build up Mr. Rowan. Man, if you weren't standing on the shoulders of these people, you'd look about 2 feet tall. Talk to Redigo.
No, I'm no beggar. I don't know what I am. Let me alone and let me figure it out for myself.
Marino? I was wondering if I went to Mr. Redigo. Oh, man, I can do a job if anybody let me. My pa, he's proud, but if Redigo understood about him...
Your pa wanted trouble, Johnny. Now you both got it. And why don't you grow up? Go back in there with Rowan, or go your own way, but don't bother me.
Johnny! Johnny! Johnny, I've been meaning to talk to some of you younger fellas. Now, it seems to me
Talk is no answer. Everybody's pushing us around. When do we push back?
Maybe a little action wouldn't do any harm. Just to set the issues straight and show that ranch where it heads in, huh? But don't misunderstand me. I'm not advocating any violence.
No, of course not. But action, that's for me. Come on, Dennis. Hey, Manuel, come on. We're going to give old Redigo a bath.
Hey, you one of the Garrett refugees? I'm Central News Service from Phoenix. We heard the Garrett Ranch was firing hundreds of men. How's about you telling me all about it, honey?
You walked out on him?
Oh, listen. Rowan was huddling with Johnny Howe and some of the other wild ones. I think Rowan wants trouble, and they're willing.
What kind of trouble?
I don't know. Johnny was joking about giving Redigo a bath.
A bath? Hey, the irrigation dam. You call the ranch, I'll get out at the dam. Tell them.
Plug up that hole. Are you kidding yourself? The water's going to tear it apart. You can't plug it up. I can try.
Johnny, I think you might grow into somebody.
Get all the extra men out to the dam first, Ben. Mm-hmm. And then follow with the machinery. Tal, round up the stable crew.
Right.
Ben, use explosive below the dam first. We're blowing the canyon sides. That'll hold some of the water in case the dam goes. And it will go. No chance to get enough men out there in time.
It just doesn't make sense. Did that girl say why Rowan would incite this?
Oh, she didn't have to. Rowan needs an army. He's trying to get me to declare war on the men I laid off. If I do, they'll have nowhere to go but to him.
Keep shoving the boards down there. The suction will pull them up against the hole.
Where'd they come from?
These are the people you wanted to drop. Thanks, Ben. I told you we needed you fellas. Hi, Mr. Redigo.
Cochini, keep the sandbags coming. Andy, you better fill some bags with cement.
Get the bulldozer and start pushing in dirt below the dam. I want it packed solid.
Right, Jim.
Pa, give me that. You better get some blankets for those men working in the water.
Yes, sir, Mr. Redigo.
Hey, Chuck.
Thanks a lot.
We're gaining on him, Mr. Redigo. Good work, Andy.
Get some pictures. What's all this about a washed-out dam? It's right there. And this big story about Garrett labor troubles. There aren't any.
Mr. Rowan's political ambitions just got in the way of his judgment.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Redigo. The basic issue still stands, and
Why don't you go home?
Now, what is going on here anyway? Where'd all those old-timers come from?
Those old-timers are what investment bankers call a hidden asset. And what you're seeing is a practical demonstration in the use of a standby labor force. Indispensable in a big open sky operation like the Garrett Ranch.
Stay with us now for more great Western action in the Big Valley.
Then at 8 Eastern, on Safari with Joan Embry on Animals of Africa. Only here on CBN.
This has been a Screen Gems film presentation.